When the economy crashes, your wallet gets thinner, but so does the restaurant industry. And some of your favorite food brands are already standing on shaky ground, teetering on the edge of collapse, held together by nothing but nostalgia and overpriced appetizers. The next recession is not a question of if, but when. And when that inevitable downturn hits, these 7 food giants will be the first to fold their napkins and disappear from your neighborhood forever. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Many of the brands you grew up with are barely surviving right now. They are drowning in debt, losing customers by the thousands, and clinging to business models that stopped working years ago. When times are good, people overlook mediocre food and inflated prices. But when budgets tighten, consumers become ruthless. They stop paying $25 for reheated pasta. They skip the $8 latte. They question why they are spending $15 on a salad they could make at home for $3. The brands on this list are doomed. Some are already closing locations quietly. Others are racking up losses quarter after quarter, propped up by loans they cannot afford to repay. A few are so over-leveraged that even a mild recession will be their death sentence. And the worst part? Most of them saw this coming and did nothing. They kept raising prices. They kept cutting quality. They kept pretending that brand recognition alone would save them. It will not. If you have ever eaten at one of these places, or if you are curious which beloved brand is secretly circling the drain, drop a comment below. Tell us which one you think will be gone first. And if this video has you rethinking your lunch plans, hit that like button and subscribe. We are just getting started. Let's start with the restaurants that priced themselves out of survival. Chains like the Cheesecake Factory and P.F. Chang's built empires on the idea that you would pay $25 for a plate that costs $4 to make. But when budgets tighten, that math stops working. These premium casual dining restaurants occupy the worst possible position in the food industry. They are too expensive to be convenient, too mediocre to be special, and too slow to compete with anything else. The Cheesecake Factory operates on a business model that defies logic. The menu is 30 pages long, featuring over 250 items. That means massive food waste and a kitchen staff that cannot possibly cook anything fresh. Former employees have confirmed that most dishes are prepped hours in advance and reheated to order. One cook said the hardest part of the job was remembering which plastic container in the walk-in fridge corresponded to which menu item. You are not dining at a restaurant. You are selecting from a glorified TV dinner catalog with chandeliers. The financial reality is even worse. The Cheesecake Factory carries significant lease obligations for oversized locations in expensive shopping centers. When foot traffic drops during recessions, these massive spaces become financial anchors. During the 2008 recession, Ruby Tuesday went from over 900 locations to fewer than 200. Applebee's shuttered over 200 stores. The Cheesecake Factory survived, but barely, and the next downturn will be worse. Why would anyone wait 45 minutes for a table, then another 30 minutes for food, when they can get comparable quality faster and cheaper elsewhere? P.F. Chang's tells a similar story. The chain peaked in the early 2000s with over 300 locations. Today it is down to under 200 and shrinking. One viral review described their orange chicken as tasting like it apologized for existing. Another customer posted a photo of a $32 entree that looked like it had been assembled by someone who had only heard about Chinese food through a telephone game. The core problem is that premium casual dining relies on disposable income and the illusion of value. When customers start doing the math, these chains lose every time. They cannot compete on speed, price, or quality. So what exactly are they selling? The answer is nothing that survives an economic downturn. But at least you can sit down at those places. The next category will charge you luxury prices for something you could make at home in 3 minutes. When people are choosing between rent and coffee, your oat milk matcha latte with cold foam is the first thing to go. Specialty coffee chains like Starbucks have convinced millions that $8 drinks are normal, necessary, even virtuous. But coffee is coffee. And when recession hits, the premium you pay for aesthetic cups suddenly feels ridiculous. These chains are not selling caffeine. They are selling luxury disguised as routine. Starbucks is the perfect example of a brand that priced itself into vulnerability. A basic latte that cost $3.50 in 2010 now costs nearly $6. Add customization, and you are easily pushing $8 or $9 for a single drink. Former baristas have shared that the actual cost of ingredients for most drinks is under $1. The rest is markup, branding, and the illusion that you are treating yourself. The business model is crumbling. Starbucks has been closing underperforming stores quietly. Foot traffic is declining. During the 2008 recession, Starbucks closed over 900 stores. They survived, but they were smaller and had fewer competitors then. Now they are facing Dutch Bros, Dunkin', Peet's, and an entire generation that learned to make cold brew at home during the pandemic. And let's talk about what you are actually drinking. Specialty coffee chains rely on sugar, milk, and flavoring syrups to make their drinks appealing. A viral video from a former Starbucks trainer showed exactly how drinks are made. Syrups from giant plastic jugs, milk steamed to temperatures that destroy any nuance. Espresso shots pulled from automated machines that require zero skill. One comment read, "I have been paying $7 for chocolate milk with an attitude." The operational costs are staggering. Prime real estate, high labor costs, supply chain dependencies. When costs increase, and they will, the chains have two choices: raise prices further or eat the losses. Starbucks has already chosen. During recessions, people trade down. They go to Dunkin', McDonald's, or brew at home. The math is brutal, and specialty coffee loses every time. Your morning coffee ritual might survive the recession, but the place charging you the cost of a meal for it will not. The next category sells something even more fragile: the illusion that you are eating well while barely slowing down. Fast casual promised the best of both worlds: quick service with quality ingredients. But when recession hits, customers realize they are getting neither and paying double for the illusion. Chains like Panera and Chipotle occupy the most dangerous position in food service. They are too expensive to compete with fast food, too fast to justify sit-down prices, and too reliant on the myth that slightly better ingredients are worth dramatically higher costs. Panera has spent decades convincing people that $12 soup and sandwich combos are reasonable. But former employees tell a different story. Most of the food arrives frozen or pre-prepped. The soups come in frozen bags, reheated in warmers throughout the day. A viral TikTok showed a Panera employee microwaving mac and cheese in a plastic bag, cutting it open and dumping it into a bread bowl. The caption just said, "Artisan." One person wrote, "I have been paying $14 for Stouffer's with attitude." Chipotle has battled food safety scandals for years: norovirus, E. coli, salmonella. But the deeper issue is value. Chipotle bowls now regularly cost $15 or more. That is sit-down restaurant money for food assembled in 90 seconds by someone making minimum wage. One customer posted a side-by-side comparison of their Chipotle bowl and a burrito from a local taqueria. Same price. The local spot had twice the meat, fresh tortillas, and did not come with a side of public health anxiety. Fast casual brands bet everything on the idea that consumers would pay a premium for the perception of quality, but perception does not fill your stomach. These chains are caught in a death spiral. They cannot lower prices without admitting their food was overpriced all along. They cannot raise prices without driving away the few customers they have left. So they shrink portions, cut corners, and hope no one notices. But people notice. They always notice. The next group is stuck in the past, literally frozen in time, watching the world move on without them. Brands like Stouffer's, Lean Cuisine, and Hungry Man used to define convenient eating. Now they are relics, gathering frost while consumers move on. These frozen food giants survived for decades by offering a simple promise: cheap, fast, and good enough. But that formula does not work anymore. Health consciousness has risen. Taste expectations have evolved. and the alternatives have gotten so much better that frozen dinners now feel like a punishment, not a solution. Here is the paradox. Economic downturns should help frozen food brands. When budgets tighten, people look for cheap, convenient meals. But sales have been declining for years. Why? Because frozen food companies never evolved. They kept selling the same sodium-loaded, preservative-packed, microwavable sadness they sold in 1995. A lean cuisine might cost $4, but it tastes like $4. One viral review described a lean cuisine chicken teriyaki as what I imagine astronauts eat when they are being punished. Hungry man's target demographic is literally dying off. Younger generations do not see value in a 1-pound frozen dinner filled with trans fats and enough sodium to dehydrate a camel. One Reddit thread asked, "Does anyone under 50 actually eat Hungry Man?" The top comment was just, "My dad. And he regrets it every time." The bigger issue is perception. Frozen dinners carry a stigma. They signal that you have given up, that you cannot cook, that you are too broke or too lazy to eat real food. Cooking at home is easier than ever. Grocery stores sell pre-chopped vegetables, marinated proteins, and meal kits that take 15 minutes. Frozen food brands are competing in a market that no longer needs them, and they have nothing unique to offer. If your brand strategy is microwavable sadness in a cardboard box, you are not surviving the next decade. The next category is dying with the buildings they are trapped inside, watching the walls crumble around them in real time. Sparrow, Auntie Anne's, and Panda Express did not just rely on foot traffic. They relied on malls, and malls are dying faster than their orange chicken. These food court brands were never destinations. They were conveniences, captive audience businesses that existed because shoppers got hungry between stores. But that entire ecosystem is collapsing. Malls are closing at record rates, and the food court tenants that survived on impulse purchases are now staring at empty corridors and bankruptcy filings. Sparrow became famous for serving New York-style pizza to people who had never been to New York and did not know any better. The slices sit under heat lamps for hours, the cheese congealing into a shiny, greasy layer that resembles wax more than mozzarella. One food critic described Sparrow as, "What happens when pizza gives up on itself?" Sparrow has filed for bankruptcy twice, in 2011 and again in 2014. Here is what most people do not know. Sparrow's business model only works in captive environments. Airports, train stations, malls, places where customers cannot easily leave, and competition is limited. Try opening a standalone Sparrow on a street corner next to actual pizza places, and it fails immediately. Because when people have choices, they do not choose Sparrow. They choose literally anything else. Auntie Anne's depends entirely on impulse purchases from shoppers wandering past the smell of butter and cinnamon sugar. Remove the foot traffic, and the sales vanish. Auntie Anne's has closed dozens of mall locations as anchor stores like Sears and JCPenney shut down. Dead anchors mean dead malls. Dead malls mean no customers. Mall food court brands were never built to stand on their own. They exist because of convenience, proximity, and lack of alternatives. When those factors disappear, so do the customers. Nostalgia is not enough. People remember these brands fondly because of the memories attached. But nostalgia does not pay the rent, and it definitely does not justify mediocre food at inflated prices when better options exist 5 minutes away. The only thing sadder than a dead mall is the pretzel stand inside it still trying. At least mall food was physically there when you needed it. The next brands will not even show up to your door anymore. Brands that only exist on delivery apps seemed like the future. Turns out, they are just expensive middlemen with no customers when times get tough. Ghost kitchens and delivery-only concepts exploded during the pandemic. Investors poured billions into the idea that brick and mortar was dead, but the model is collapsing. These brands have no loyalty, no identity, and no way to survive when delivery fees become unaffordable luxuries. Ghost kitchens are commercial kitchen spaces with no dining room, no storefront, and sometimes no actual brand identity. One kitchen might operate 6 different virtual restaurants simultaneously: Italian on one tablet, tacos on another, burgers on a third. It is the same kitchen, same ingredients, sometimes even the same base recipes, just repackaged with different names and photos. A former ghost kitchen operator admitted that their gourmet burger concept and their authentic Philly cheesesteak brand used the exact same beef, same buns, and same fries. The only difference was the marketing and the prices. Here is what most people do not know. Ghost kitchens operate on razor-thin margins. Delivery platforms like DoorDash and Uber Eats take 25 to 35% of every order. Credit card processing takes another 3%. Food costs, labor, and rent eat up most of what is left. That means ghost kitchens need high volume and premium prices just to break even, but high prices drive customers away. And without a physical storefront or brand recognition, there is nothing keeping people loyal. The celebrity-branded ghost kitchen trend made things worse. Mr. Beast Burger launched with massive hype. What customers got was inconsistent, often terrible food. Complaints flooded social media. Burgers arrived smashed, cold, or raw. One viral TikTok showed a Mr. Beast burger that looked like it had been run over before being packaged. Mr. Beast himself eventually sued the ghost kitchen operator, claiming they damaged his brand. But the damage was done. Industry estimates suggest that over 60% of ghost kitchens close within the first year. They launch with excitement, burn through investor cash on marketing, and then disappear when the numbers do not work. Multiple restaurant owners who partnered with operators claimed they lost money on every order. One franchisee said, "We were paying rent, paying labor, and paying platform fees, all to lose $3 per delivery. It was a scam disguised as innovation." Delivery dependency is a death sentence during recessions. When budgets tighten, delivery is the first thing people cut. A $12 meal becomes $22 after delivery fees, service fees, small cart fees, and tips. Ghost kitchens cannot adapt. They have no dine-in option, no takeout counter, no brand presence. And when order volume drops, the whole system collapses. A brand that only exists on an app is not a restaurant. It is a desperate gamble wrapped in aluminum foil. The last category sold something even more fragile: the idea that spending more makes you morally superior. Sweet Green, Pressed Juicery, and Juice Generation built empires convincing people that overpriced salads would change their lives. But in a recession, survival beats self-optimization. These trendy health food chains turned wellness into a luxury product, branding clean eating as a lifestyle choice for people with disposable income. They sold the idea that spending more on food made you healthier, smarter, and more virtuous. But when the economy crashes, that illusion collapses. Sweet Green is the poster child for wellness culture turned toxic. This salad chain charges $18 to $22 for bowls that cost maybe $5 in ingredients. The marketing is slick. Local farms, sustainable sourcing, seasonal menus. It sounds impressive until you realize it is just lettuce, grilled chicken, and overpriced toppings in a compostable bowl. Former employees have shared that the so-called farm partnerships are often exaggerated. One worker said most ingredients come from the same massive distributors that supply regular restaurants. Here is what most people do not know. Sweet Green has never been profitable. The company went public in 2021 and immediately started hemorrhaging money. Stock prices tanked from over $50 per share to under $10 within a year. The business model does not work. High rent for trendy locations, high labor costs, high ingredient costs, and a customer base that only exists when the economy is good. When budgets tighten, $22 salads are the first thing to go. You can buy the same ingredients at Trader Joe's for $7 and make 3 salads. The target demographic is the problem. Sweet Green built its brand for young urban professionals who wanted to signal health and status through their lunch choices. But those same professionals are the first to lose jobs during recessions. And when people lose their income, They do not just stop buying expensive salads, they resent them. The brand becomes a symbol of waste. One viral tweet read, "I spent $3,000 at Sweet Green last year, and I am still depressed and broke. Lettuce did not save me." Pressed Juicery and similar juice bar chains face the same fate. They charge $8 to $12 for cold-pressed juices that are mostly water, sugar, from fruit, and hype. The health claims are dubious at best. Nutritionists have repeatedly pointed out that juice removes fiber, concentrates sugar, and offers little benefit over eating actual fruit. One dietitian described juice cleanses as expensive ways to spike your blood sugar and feel superior about it. The operational costs are unsustainable. Fresh juice has a short shelf life. Produce is expensive. Equipment breaks down. Pressed Juicery has closed dozens of stores in recent years. Competitors like Juice Generation have shut down entirely in multiple cities. The juice bar boom is over. What remains are a few locations clinging to life in wealthy zip codes, serving customers who have not yet realized they are paying luxury prices for something a Vitamix could do at home for pennies. The backlash against wellness culture is real. People are tired of being told that health requires spending more, eating cleaner, optimizing harder. One TikTok went viral showing someone making a Sweet Green copycat bowl at home for under $6. It looked identical, probably tasted better, and did not come with a side of financial anxiety. The comment section was unanimous. Why did we ever think this was worth it? Paying $22 for blended kale might detox your body, but it will bankrupt your wallet. These brands sold virtue and aspiration. But recessions strip away aspiration and leave only bills. So what does all this mean for you? These 7 categories share a common thread. Overpriced menus, over-leveraged business models, over-reliance on discretionary spending that vanishes the moment budgets tighten. They survived during good times because people had money to waste and habits to maintain. But recessions expose weakness. They strip away the marketing, the branding, the illusion that these chains offer anything worth the premium. What is left is mediocre food, questionable practices, and businesses that cannot adapt when customers finally start asking if the prices ever made sense in the first place. Not every location will close overnight. Some will survive in wealthy areas where people still have disposable income. Others will limp along, cutting portions and raising prices until the last loyal customer finally gives up. But make no mistake, these brands are dying. The next recession will not kill them. It will just reveal they were already dead, held together by inertia and the false belief that popularity equals permanence. Consumer behavior shifts during downturns, and those shifts stick. Once people realize they can eat better for less, they do not go back. Once trust is broken, it does not return. The survivors will be the brands that offer real value, genuine quality, honest pricing, adaptability, the ones that respected customers instead of exploiting them. These 7 categories failed that test long before any recession arrived. They chose profit over quality, image over substance, cost savings over customer care, and now they are paying the price. If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button and subscribe. We are not done exposing what the food industry does not want you to know. Drop a comment and tell us which brand you think will collapse first, or if any of these chains fooled you before you learned the truth. Share this with someone who still thinks frozen lasagna is fine dining, or that $22 salads are a smart investment. The next recession is coming, and when it does, only the strong survive. Most of these are not strong. They are just expensive.